All things turn out for the best. According to Alison Zangmo, you must love and appreciate the Dharma above all else if you expect it to help and inspire you. But I'm not sure I love the Dharma more than my own fat belly, which I love to feed on junk food, the ultimate consolation and calorific high. Of course, I have my secret practices conferred by numerous enlightened masters, gurus who had the time and patience to initiate me into the unspoken realm of Rigpa. But maybe I was greedy for knowledge, and took on too many heavy loads, like a flatulent beast of burden. One thing is certain, I should have practiced more, but maybe what I've done will help a little when I die. As they say, time is of the essence, and I still have 6 hours left today for practice. But instead of Dharma, I will sleep and listen to Pink Floyd on YouTube. Probably it's karma. Dooby doob doob doob. I thought about you in the middle of last night, magnificent and dressed in red. A pleasing dream, a fertile stream of memorable projections. Oh, lady in red, what's that you said? Would you like to climb a mountain with me? Come on a cable car for free? Sit in a coffee bar and drink Darjeeling tea. It's all good, all part of a perfect day, because I understand you and you understand me. Lady in red, fly me to the moon. Let me see what winter's like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. In other words, and though it's hard to say, I guess I got to love you then, a little more each day. Oh, lady in red, please love me, do, do, do. It's been a long ride, and red does not combine with blue. If paradise was just as nice as noodles with you at 6:30, I'd probably think a little bit more about learning a few extra tricks. Optimum succedent omnia. Check it out. Well, this was a poem I wrote about 2 months ago. All things turn out for the best. I think it's a quote, isn't it, from Voltaire, or something similar. It might be slightly adapted. The best of all things in the best possible world. So, of course, I'm not sure if it's true, and there's irony there and sarcasm, perhaps. So, yeah, really considering the ways in which nothing seems to work out as you wanted it to, and you don't know where things are heading, how things will turn out. Sometimes it's best just to leave them alone and see what happens. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the content particularly. It's fairly clear, I think. I don't know. Perhaps it's not. It has a lot of arcane references, but I think it's clear enough that it's about some kind of religious practice that the person who wrote it, in this case me, does not feel that he is keeping up with, not really keeping on top of. Yeah, that's really the first section. Instead, just consolation of various kinds. Just looking at what is said in the rest of the poem. Yeah, so when a person is in a position where can change the flow of things going in the wrong direction, often it's very difficult because you need to show such an incredible amount of willpower to do that, and the longer things go on without being changed, the more difficult it is to change them. Well, What I'm saying is all kind of general and vague and philosophical. It's got nothing to do with the way I wrote the poem, I suppose. Uh, yeah, it's kind of free verse, most of it, and it's just trying to make the music of the lines right. So there's not a lot more to say about it. You know, it's just an ear thing. You try to make the lines sound right and end in the right place, start in the right place. A few rhymes which are there at strategic points to bring the reader's mind back to point, concentrate the mind of the readers with a sudden jerk or bump, really. That's the purpose of a lot of the rhymes. Uh, but instead of Dharma, I will sleep and listen to Pink Floyd on YouTube. Probably it's Karma. So definitely some irony there, isn't there? Dooby doob doob doob. There too, that's perhaps degraded into sarcasm. But it's how anyone might feel at times when they feel that they're not really doing what they ought to do. You're doing something that's wasting time, you know it's wasting time, but anyway, you can't really stop yourself. You've just got to relax and listen to this or do this, and you know it would be better if you were doing something else. So the sarcasm in this case, if it's is directed against myself. Anyone who's really interested, it might seem kind of really weird, but if you think about some of the great poems of the 20th century, there are similar things like T.S. Eliot's Wasteland, you know, jug jug to dirty ears, and there's so much that it's really hard to take in, or it's really slangy in the Wasteland. So yeah, there is that influence, but not overpowering, because nobody can really be strongly influenced by the Wasteland. Certainly not in terms of content, but there are tricks and ways of doing things that we can pick up from great writers. And this is an example of that, I think. Yeah, and then it sort of switches context to somebody, a loved person. So apart from all the suffering, there is the thought of the loved person in the middle of the night. Thought of you dressed in red, a pleasing dream, a fertile stream of memorable projections. Well, there's some irony there as well, because in the kind of religious practices talked about, there are often visualizations involved. So in this case, the writer is kind of thinking of the woman, the projection of the woman, rather than the projections he should be thinking about. Oh, lady in red, what's that you said? Would you like to climb a mountain with me? Come on a cable car for free. Sit in a coffee bar and drink Darjeeling tea. It's all good, all part of a perfect day, because I understand you and you understand me. This is probably a memory of days out with the person the writer is thinking about. And then it kind of mutates into something else, combines with popular ballads and songs and things, and all gets mixed up in a kind of sentimental way, perhaps. Lady in Red, the famous song, is in the Lady in Red. Lady in Red, Fly Me to the Moon. There's two songs combined. Let me see what winter's like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I think that it's really Fly Me to the Moon. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. So Here's something completely changed, and yet the reference is clear. In other words, and though it's hard to say, I guess I got to love you then a little more each day. In other words, so yeah, using these simple ballad words and lines and yet changing them and mutating them into something different. Somehow they're appropriate because they represent the sort of banal things going around in the writer's head, just fragments of popular songs and things, and then mutating them into something specific to the writer. Oh, lady in red, please love me, do, do, do. It's been a long ride. Red does not combine with blue. No need to refer to love me, do, do, do. There's another song, less well known, especially in America. I think it was popular in England. If paradise was half as nice as you. If paradise was half as nice as. And that's the same thing. So some kind of sentimental line of a popular song going around in the writer's head and yet being transmuted into something else. Paradise was half as nice as noodles with you at 6:30. Well, that's really dislocating language in the Eliotic sense, I think. I'd probably think a little bit more about learning a few extra tricks. Yeah. So maybe the religious practice is just not interesting enough in the end. It's the relationship, the direct relationship with the person that is really creating the spark that makes life worth living. Optimum succedent omnia. Yeah, that's the title. All things work out for the best in Latin. A bit pretentious perhaps, but just to take the wind out of it. In brackets, I have after it, check it out. So I'm not an expert in Latin myself. I just found something appropriate, and anyone can check it out really, what the meaning is. But sometimes it's good to give a few puzzles, let people work things out for themselves. Don't say it directly, say it obliquely, say it in another language, so they have to do a bit of work to get your point. So yeah, that's what it was about, really. So hope that was useful, and thank you.